Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode of Asaph Cafe. I am your host, Asaph Adonai, and affectionately on my left, our aging rocker Emmett.
Yes.
And this time, we have placed ourselves on Sesame Street. Isn't that cool?
Yes, indeed. A lot to talk about with Sesame Street, yes.
Yeah, all the years I've been doing this cafe, I've never placed myself on Sesame Street.
And there's so much to talk about that show, definitely, because I was one of the first Sesame Street kids.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You want to start us off?
Heavenly Father, bless our time together and our secret ingredient soda pop together and time together in Jesus' name.
And I'm in total agreement. Okay, let's play this for you.
Well, a couple of things just to announce. This will probably be the last cafe of the year 2019 because I have got things I've got to do next Thursday unless you want to do something on Friday. And of course, the week after next is Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, where we celebrate our Lord's goodness for us and thank God for His blessings. It isn't just Turkey Day, folks. So, and then of course on Friday, Black Friday, something exciting is coming up in your life. So you're going to be playing. Do you mind if I show the people in the viewing
Go ahead.
This poster? Folks, Asaph is going to be Liberace at the mall. You know, he plays every year. You play every year.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
Southcutt Mall. But guess what? You're going to be doing Liberace in Missoula.
Yeah.
Southgate Mall Christmas Holiday Concert Series. Join the fun as Asaph Adonai celebrates 10 years anniversary playing the piano for the Christmas holiday season. Congratulations, Asaph recreates the legacy of Liberace, Mr. Showmanship.
Yeah.
And that's going to be November 29th, the day after, through December, and then December 2nd.
Yeah, December 2nd through the 20th.
Through the 20th of 2019, and that's a big thing. You'll be at the piano, but you'll be in Liberace full costume.
Yeah, I want to, I think I can do this, acknowledge
Yes.
Rococo Bridal and Tuts, because when I was on Joe's show, he mentioned them by name.
Mm-hmm.
The owners are Rebecca Wagner and Deborah Stebbins, and they spent the entire year designing these costumes.
Whoa!
Including,
That must have cost you a fortune, though.
It did, but I think the fees been waived because of the advertising they're getting.
Oh, good.
But yeah, Rebecca Wagner and Deborah Stebbins, they actually went to Liberace.com and they must have just looked through a bunch of pictures.
Wow.
And picked out some costumes that they thought they could duplicate. So I'm really humbled that they
Wow.
not only gave myself but just everybody an opportunity, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll have the rings. Well, in fact, I already have the rings at home. I don't
Wow.
have today. So I'll have the rings. And there's a video that's been made. I'll have to show it to you after this tape
Wonderful.
is done. Scott did a wonderful job taping all the costumes and stuff. And so this is going to be pretty cool.
It sounds wonderful.
So
I have to see you perform.
Oh yeah.
Lord willing, Black Friday and other days of the year. I just have to.
Well, okay. Technically, on November 29th, which is Black Friday, I will be there all day,
Yes.
starting at 7:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And I usually, like, the people that want to see it, I usually tell them to come on that day because I get the most playing time.
Yes.
And then on the 2nd through the 20th, usually starting around noon or 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you know how it is. It varies because sometimes children's choirs can come in and, you know, stuff like that. So.
Well, I
Anyway.
wouldn't be up on Friday at 7:30 a.m. to see you anyway. Often I wake up at 10 or 11 anyway.
Well, I'll be there anyway. I gotta be there till it closes that
Wow.
day.
Okay. But I'll
So-
want to see. Heck, I might even want to try on a cape or something, or a ring or something, if you'd let me, or if
Sure,
you
if you want to try it, I don't know if it'll fit your hand, but if it does, yeah, you can put on a ring.
or a cape, or just for a few seconds, and get a
Yeah,
photograph
and we
of
can
me
get
and
some
you.
pictures too.
I want
I'm
some
hoping
pictures,
will,
please.
people will take pictures and stuff.
Thank you.
like
I've got to
that,
get
you know?
a disposable camera and get a lot of pictures. I mean, I have to. Even a picture, with me and you, and that. It would
Yeah.
be so cool. I guess the Missoulian's gonna interview you, or not, or-
I don't know. Well, there was a reporter from the Missoulian that wanted showed an interesting coverage.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from him lately. I'll have to do some follow up and see.
Yeah.
But I did get an invitation for K-Pax on the 25th.
Oh, it sounds so fun. That sounds so exciting.
As Liberace, you know.
That sounds so exciting. It'll bring so much joy to people. The Christmas holiday season, and they'll get to see Liberace.
Now, here's something on a more serious note. Being Liberace and doing this thing is not going to change anyone's life.
Right.
I just want to bring some smiles.
I agree.
And if I can bring a smile to someone and joy for just that moment.
Right, that's what I meant.
Yeah, just for that moment. That's why I want to do this.
Yeah.
So...
Are you gonna like twirl the cape and that kind of thing?
Well, I don't know about twirling the cape because they went through a lot of trouble to make that cape. I want to take care of it. But I am gonna spin around. I'll spin around and I'll walk around to the audience. You know where the people are eating, and flash the costume.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah,
it's hard to. Yeah, we got to get some pictures. You and I got to get some pictures.
Oh, I agree.
Now I have 4 costumes, and this is
4 of them. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wonderful.
That's just one of them.
Oh, by the way, a couple of things before we start. I have this little laser gun I just found on the shelf. Look. Let's see. Wait. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And look, there's kind of a sad thing. You know my power watch?
Yeah, what about it?
I thought something was missing. Well, I had a tiny compass here, just more of as a decoration. It came with the watch. You couldn't really use it as a compass, but it fell off. Isn't that disappointing? It kind of was like an extra laser. It fell off. I thought there was something missing on my watch. Kind of disappointing. Oh well, it's not that big a thing. My power watch still works. What do you think?
Play a tune.
But yeah, this is the last show probably of this year and of this decade as well. Because you know what I was thinking? 2019 is the last year of this decade, starting in 2010. Because we've already had 2 decades of the 21st century, you know, the new millennium, the 21st century.
Yeah, can you believe it's going to be 2020 already?
I know, in a month and a half.
Yeah, it's amazing.
When this is right, because this is the 14th.
Yeah.
Of November, year 2019. I mean, the year's almost over. The decade is almost over. Amazing. And then starts a new decade, 2020. I just thinking of this morning.
Which is really amazing. Really, really amazing.
And we've had a great run on the cafe. We've had a wonderful. I guess it started. What was the year the cafe started?
It started, if I recall, September 2014.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
September 2014. And
probably one of the better TV programs of this decade, I think, in all of television.
Well, to God be the glory.
Yes,
Thank you. I want to give God all the credit for that. That's very kind. And of course, your show is the longest running of all the shows here on MCAT. And this has just been such a delight and a joy in my life, Asaph Cafe.
Actually, I think the Open Door Baptist was the longest running because it was running longer than my show. Yeah, and so a few others, but they don't have that on anymore. But yeah.
They don't?
No.
Well, anyway, this has just been such a joy and a delight, and I appreciate you always coming week after week and keeping me company. And of course, now we can talk about Sesame Street and have fun on the cafe on Sesame Street. This is a perfect backdrop. This is our last cafe for the rest of the year.
It is.
You know, because you're not going to be here next week, right?
No, I've got some other things I got to do.
Oh, no, that's fine. And then, of course, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and we'll be closed Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to do another cafe on next Friday or something.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm
We can tentatively plan that this will be the last one, unless it isn't, and we'll do another one.
Yeah, this might just be the last one, and Sesame Street's a good way to go out, you know?
It is. I was one of the first Sesame Street kids. The very first one, because I was born in 1967. Wasn't it first shot in 1966? Or
I don't know the exact year, but I can tell you Sesame Street is 50 years old. Can you believe it? 50 years old.
I thought it was 60, but then that would mean it was 1969 when it first aired. If it's 50 years old today.
Well, that's what one of the pictures said. It could be older.
Yeah, I thought it was a little older.
It could be older.
I saw a special one time on Sesame Street.
Okay.
This was about 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Man, it was controversial for its time.
Sesame
I'll tell
Street,
you why.
Really?
Because they didn't think it was going to work. They thought that Sesame Street would maybe be filmed in a meadow or just, you know, like a romper room set of toys. And the producer said, I want to film it in a in a rundown ghetto type neighborhood in an inner city. I want to film this in an inner city neighborhood.
That's what you read about?
It was on the TV special. Okay. About 20 years ago, the producer said, I want this in an inner city neighborhood.
Okay.
And everybody's mouths fell open. It's like, I don't think this is going to work. An inner city neighborhood? In the inner city? Yeah. What is happening? Have they... But of course, we know it turned out to be a huge success.
Yeah.
And they talked about the psychology of Sesame Street and everything.
Okay.
And how they would do it. You see, each episode has to be screened by a psychiatrist. You know, may I borrow this for a minute? You know, the whole plot, the whole everything, to make sure it doesn't frighten the kids too much or too upsetting.
That makes sense.
You know, and as a matter of fact, they even maybe considered, you know, the vampire count that they have?
Yeah.
They almost thought about not having him, and they thought it might be too scary for kids. But they changed their minds.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
They did do one after 9/11. This was about just after 9/11, where basically they didn't talk about 9/11, but they talked about firemen, what they do. Big Bird lost his nest due to a fire, and so they talked about the firemen.
So it was more of a serious, right?
Yeah, it was more, because they touched on serious things, even interracial things, if you know. They've talked about interracial things, but it is screened by a psychiatrist to make sure it can be approved or it's not. And they have a test audience of little kids to see if it didn't frighten them. We're going to do one on divorce.
Okay.
But the little kids got too frightened about that. What if that happened to me? Are my parents getting divorced? So they decided not to do a show on divorce.
I see, okay.
But yeah, and allow me to tell you, it has evolved over the years since 1960.
Absolutely.
It has evolved and changed so much. I mean, we have the central characters, but now I guess they even have an autistic character on there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
I think it is. But I was one of the first Sesame Street kids. I was watching it from age 3 to 5, I guess.
Okay.
You know, when it first came on, I was one of the first, and I loved it. But thing is, my mother told me, I don't even remember this, when I was about 7 years old or so, I was still watching Sesame Street. I guess this would have been 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 1975 or so, I'm just guesstimating.
Okay.
They changed the whole format of Sesame Street, enough that I noticed it.
Okay.
And my day was ruined. My mother said I was just in agony for the rest of the day. They changed Sesame Street.
Well,
they changed it. They changed the look of it. What are they doing?
Well, they probably have to change it. I can see if they want to keep up. You know,
yeah.
Like the new generations come, the times change. So
I wanted it exactly the same way. My mother always said my day was not complete and was ruined and went on without Sesame Street. I had to watch that every day or my day would be ruined. It wouldn't work without Sesame Street. I loved, as a matter of fact, that's where I learned my colors and my shapes was from Sesame Street.
Well, you know, that's a great legacy if you think about that.
Yeah, it is.
It's a beautiful show, too. And
it is a beautiful show. I've loved it. I'm
sure they may have had some controversial moments over the years, but overall, I think it's a very positive show.
It is.
I think I don't know how to put it into words. And now the autistic character, I think that's great.
It is fantastic. Well, it mixes humor, this kind of thing, with serious issues sometimes and education thrown in.
And not making fun of people that are different.
Right.
Different color.
Right.
Disabilities and things like that.
Right, right. And that's wonderful, and you learn your letters, your shapes, and that's how I learned mine was through Sesame Street, and it was always, you know, Grover would say, this episode of Sesame Street was brought to you by the letter P, you know, and the letter Q, and...
wow.
I loved it. I kind of grew out of it after age 8. I was watching it from age 3 to age 8.
Yeah.
For 5 years straight.
Probably a whole bunch of people at those early years. And
oh, yeah.
Just think of the influences.
Very formative, very formative. If I would babysit, sometimes I would. Even my nieces sometimes still would watch Sesame Street, and I remember some of the skits. Or if I was babysitting, they'd watch Sesame Street. So I also, in the 1979, got to see some of it. I got to see Grover's superhero character, Super Grover. Remember that? Remember, he was the same one that played Yoda on Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Super Grover always kind of got things messed up, man. He would hear a child crying. That was kind of funny. But they even had a spoof or spinoff of Superman called Blunder Man, who couldn't really. Okay. Oh, that was in 1979. I was watching that with my nieces.
Blunder Man?
Yeah. Who will save you even when they don't have their mummies? Blunder Man. He had a big B, but he continued blundering through everything of his superhero character.
I see.
Couldn't do it right, you know. Hilarious. The last time I was seeing, I was babysitting some kid, and
you were watching that, huh?
Right. It was around 1985, 84, 85, 86. I think 85 was the last time I really sat down and saw it. I saw it a few times. I wanted to see. The last time I saw it was after 2001. I wanted to see the one that was on the TV guide about 9/11. Like, I have to see this, and I did see it, and it was really good.
Okay.
I really liked it, and I saw it a few other times afterwards just to try and keep up.
Okay.
About the last time, really, in 1985, I was babysitting this one kid. We were living in Missoula. It was 1985. A cow was talking about milk, and the words of milk, something about the ilk of the milk. That's pretty cool. I really like that. That's pretty good. That's what I remember of it.
That's cool.
But you know, I think it was groundbreaking for so many other shows and other TV. I think it started Nickelodeon. It probably spun off Nickelodeon.
It probably did, yeah.
Influenced Nickelodeon at some point. Even Sprout TV and Baby TV.
Baby TV, all those.
Yeah, and of course we did have Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I didn't care for as much. That was kind of popular then too.
They made a movie based on that, you know.
Yeah, isn't it going to be showing in Thanksgiving?
Probably.
I saw the previews for Thanksgiving.
It looked like it was pretty good.
Yeah, I
was really impressed.
I might see it, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, maybe Mr. Rogers didn't work for everybody, but
didn't work for me.
Think about it, he left a wonderful legacy.
He did.
He really did. I mean, this man's been in heaven for quite some time, and they're still talking about his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood a lot, but I wasn't near as fond of it as Sesame Street.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I'd like to see Tom Hanks'
I would too.
I think it's going to be quite good.
The reason I was not a big fan of Mr. Rogers is because, well, kind of something personal in my life. I don't even discuss the whole thing, but I was taken to a lot of child psychologists and psychiatrists.
Oh, I see.
When I was a kid. And the problem is, with Mr. Rogers' smile and the sweater, I mean, the whole place looked like a psychiatrist's office.
I guess
a psychologist's office, a child psychologist's office. You know, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Can you play that? Hey, in the neighborhood, it's a wonderful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. It's a wonderful day for a neighbor. Won't you please? Won't be my neighbor. And it was kind of like, you know, we've had a wonderful time. You take off his shoes, then feed the fish. To get you in a calm setting, to then talk to the child about, what are your problems today? You've been acting out in school, haven't you? A little bird told me. Now, how is your self-esteem issues? And let's talk to these puppets over. And it just reminded me.
From your point of view, I can see. But you know, I don't think all of his shows were like that.
Enough of them were for me. Just have that feel, you know.
Yeah, I can understand that. One of the most interesting ones I ever saw, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, they had Wynton Marsalis, the famous trumpeter.
Oh yeah.
And they went to this trumpet factory to show how trumpets were made. And
I never saw that one. That would have been a good one.
That was pretty cool, how they were bending metal and stuff and using the fire, the heat to melt metals.
Yeah, that's good.
To bend, to make trumpets. And then they had the real Wynton Marsalis on there demonstrating it.
That's really good. Thing is, I saw the early ones in the early 70s. I was also one of the first Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood kids. You know, I was one of the first of those too. And it just rubbed me the wrong way
I understand, but I hope you'll get to see this movie. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, I would.
Out of curiosity.
I wonder if he was a child psychologist or just a reverend. I think he was a Methodist reverend.
Yeah, and I think he might have been both. I know he was a reverend. Yeah.
But he just came off in a child psychologist way in an office.
But you know, if you think about it, that was his niche too. It was different than because you know they had a lot of children's shows.
Yeah, they did, and it was very
Kukla,
different.
Fran and Ollie. Let's go back in time. Let's have fun. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie was one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Well, Fran was this lady, and she had these two puppets in front of her in this little backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there was Captain Kangaroo.
Oh, yes, I remember him.
And there was Sherry Lewis, Lamb Chop, and was it Charlie Horse and Charlie Horse and Hush Puppy. And they had, of course, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and there's all these children's programs. So where I'm going with this is Mr. Rogers had his niche.
Yes, true.
With the psychology aspect of it.
Yeah,
but
child psychology for
kids.
half an hour.
It did encourage kids, like not just stuff that children needed to know.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. So.
But I think Sesame Street was a lot better. Yeah.
Well, Sesame Street will probably be the greatest of all the children.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it, and that's not a put down on all the other.
No, it isn't.
Children's shows. But yeah, I think it's a safe assumption Sesame Street will be the absolute best.
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
Best, just the best.
Yeah, there's only one thing. I don't know if they had this or they went through with this. There was one thing I did object. I heard about later that they were going to have a transgendered character or a gay character or something.
Well, I wouldn't underestimate that because I don't think they're going to be promoting gay stuff on a children's show. It's probably not like, it'll probably be something like,
they've already had it, or they did have it, or something, you know.
It'll probably be something like, maybe not judging, or I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I tried to see any more of it, and I don't know if they had that. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they withdrew it. I haven't seen Sesame Street in so long.
Yeah, because that would seem very unlikely that Sesame Street would be promoting something like gay stuff, and it just seems very unlikely.
They even did a caricature. I don't know if they had this as an actual Muppet. Do you remember Bill O'Reilly from Fox Network, The O'Reilly Factor?
Yeah,
O'Reilly Factor. I loved that. I think they were going to introduce a one that was similar to Bill O'Reilly from the Pox Network, and this kind of something Riley
character based on
Spew Riley, and he was just always this disheveled person who said, "If you don't agree with me, beat it, scram."
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that was years ago. I don't know if they continued with that with Spew Riley. That might have been just something, but they might have had that one. Says, I'm kind of against that, kind of turning kids against Fox or conservatism. That's wrong.
Know. Well, but see again. With 4-year-olds, that just seems very unlikely. Now, I could be dead wrong, but that just seems unlikely,
They have the new episodes of Sesame Street on 198, and I think they even had it for a while on Sprout TV, but they don't have Sprout TV. They just have Universal Kids, which just has angered me.
I just thought of something, changing the subject. I want to talk about Lauren Daigle. Do you know who she is?
No.
She's the Christian singer, young Christian singer, probably in her early 20s. And she made her debut on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and she's been on Ellen, singing about God, and I just thought that was pretty cool.
Wonderful.
Anyway, she's got a song called You Say, and I have a friend named Carrie who drives for the Mountain Line bus, and I prepared a piano version of You Say. I want to demonstrate that for you, and if Carrie ever sees this, she can see it in advance.
Oh, wonderful.
I told her I would play it for her. I don't know how well this electronic keyboard will let me do it, but let me do some of it for you and see what you think of it. Tell me what you think of it.
Interesting.
like that.
Yep.
Well, I have a longer version. That's a short version of it. That is a song called You Say. And it's a beautiful, brand new Christian song that's been introduced.
Wonderful.
So I came up with this piano version. So Carrie, if you ever see that, that's a short version of You Say for you. She's a big fan of that song.
Wonderful.
So I just wanted to do that on camera.
What kind of piano are you going to be using at the mall?
They're not getting a grand piano this year. They've got this, I think it's called a spinet. It's a regular sized piano similar to this here, but it's a piano.
Okay.
And they painted it. Management said they're going to call it the Elton John piano.
Oh, wonderful.
Which I think would work because Elton John wore costumes too.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the degree like Liberace, but...
Yeah. So in other words, it's not going to be a Liberace piano?
No, but I've tested it already. It's decent. And what I like about this particular piano, it's the kind that's flat like this, so I'll be visible. Because some uprights have, that little thing that blocks your view. And so you have to come around on the side to see the person, but this is a flat piano, so people will be able to see me as they're walking this way, that way, and so on, so I'll be visible.
Wonderful.
But getting back to Lauren Daigle, she is just an amazing young woman as far as her talent, her voice, and everything, and I'm a big fan. I'm a 61-year-old that's a fan of Lauren Daigle.
Oh, we forgot to have a birthday party for you this year.
Well, maybe here, but I did have a wonderful birthday, though.
Yeah, we forgot to have a birthday party here at the cafe. We forgot to do that.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. At least, well, the TV audience may know. Some of them probably already know. I'm 61 now.
Yes.
So.
I'll be 52 in December next month.
Good for you. Yeah, good for you. But yeah, you may know some of Lauren Daigle's songs. They're just beautiful songs. I'll probably never meet this young woman, but if I could, I would just say that her songs are just such an inspiration. She probably hears that all the time, and they are. And that's not a put down on all the other Christian artists, because there's some wonderful new Christian artists out there. So many. And I don't know if you would know who they are. Their music sounds more like regular pop music. Yeah. But it just sings about God.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Michael W. Smith, Toby Mac. His music sounds almost like rap music to me in a way, but it's positive. And let's see, there's Casting Crowns. There's Mandisa, the lady with the extreme high range, and sing really high. There's oh my goodness, so many groups out there. 10th Avenue North. And the list just goes on and on and on.
I guess I'm not really much of a fan of contemporary Christian music. I've heard tons of it, but it's just not my style.
Well, I know that may not be for everyone, but it's really uplifting music if you think of the lyrics. And what I like about it is, even though it may sound like secular popular music,
that's a lot of big problem. I guess I reserve church music for church.
I know, and I understand that, and that may not necessarily work for everyone.
Right.
But I can see the positive side of that.
Well, that is true.
If you think about it, I think you can reach young people with it.
True.
I really think you can. And it comforts me too. I've listened to enough of it that when I listen to the storylines, it's really encouraging.
That's wonderful.
Like if you're having a bad day, it might say something like "Pray a prayer to God" or something.
Good point.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Or okay, let me put it this way, because I'll have to try to explain it this way. YNOP, your Network of Praise radio broadcast, they play like 24 hours all that beautiful Christian music. And they've got a thing where in their ministry where sometimes God can bring the right song to you through the radio at a given moment if you need it, like an uplift. Like let's say you're having a really sad day or something. Yeah. The right song could come on the airwaves that'll lift you up or encourage you. It's hard to explain, but I've experienced that too, where I've had some days where I need to pray, and all of a sudden a song would come on and say, just come to Christ, come to the Lord, pray, something like that, And I don't think that's no coincidence. I think the Lord is working in that instance to minister to people. You know, and again, that's not taken away from the other Christian stations.
Mm-hmm.
That's just pretty cool that YNOP does that. You know, and they sit it on the air that sometimes God brings the right song to a person to minister to them, and I think that's wonderful. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but I really like all this new Christian stuff that's out.
Yeah, that's good.
It's encouraging, and of course I like the old school too, the old hymns.
Oh yeah.
And all the chant
Mm-hmm.
music that
Mm-hmm.
they used to have in the church and stuff.
Oh, I love Gregorian chant.
Yeah.
But again, that is mostly left for church, and they don't sing Gregorian chant hardly
I
anywhere. That's very
understand,
sad.
I know, and I think it's just a sign of the times. They don't even do the old hymns much in church.
Isn't that awful? Isn't that awful?
Well,
It's all this, like even at the modern Catholic parishes, it's all this honky-tonk stuff that is so politically correct it makes you sick, you know, that has no hymns, that has no songs, like, something about, take Christ to the world, show it in the way we live our lives.
Well, you know, I just think I think there's room out there for all of it, if you think about it. And there are churches still that still do the traditional old hymns, and that works for them. I don't think there's no definitive, you have to do this type worship.
True.
To worship God.
But
you know,
I guess with
like
songs like that, take Christ to the world, show it in the way we live our lives, I think you should not only show it in the way you live your life, but you also have to preach the gospel and tell the gospel to other people.
Well, you know what's cool,
You can't just show it in the way you live.
They're not, in my defense with the Christian regular stuff that they're doing these days, I don't think they're taking away from the gospel at all, because I've been to enough of those church services that when all that music is done, and that preacher gets up there and he's preaching, he's telling the gospel.
Okay.
You know,
I guess I was just doing, because I'm a Catholic, you know, with
I know,
the
and I
Catholic
understand, but I
churches,
mean, whatever music they do, really,
Yeah.
like in the Catholic Church, the chants, the old hymns or whatever, I think you and I can both agree when it comes to the preaching, all that music is put aside.
Yeah.
And they focus on...
Yeah, I've heard mediocre preaching from the Catholic pulpit. I've heard good preaching, and I've heard mediocre stuff.
Okay. I don't know much about the Catholic aspect of it.
Although it's so much liberalism nowadays after Vatican II, a lot of priests have decided they want to be politically correct and tone it down as not to offend their congregations and just talk about relationships, Christ with each other, a more modern interpretation of the Bible, maybe some old stories from their childhood. It's like, you know, Christ accepts no matter what we do or how we live. Not,
I know.
You know, some bad theology that kind of creeps in there.
Well, I think that's probably been going on for a long time anyway. But the main thing is the gospel message. You can't change or alter that.
Well, you can't. If you are a priest and you change the gospel message for political correctness or whatever, you're going to hell for that. I don't want to have a downer on this show, but I've got to warn you, you got to preach the gospel. Catholic, Protestant, if you deviate from the gospel and have either just social justice, liberalism, political correctness, or being afraid to talk about hell or talk about sin, you're going to hell and you don't even know it, you know.
Yeah.
There was this horrible priest one time that said, God doesn't solve your problems. I confronted him immediately, said, God does solve your problems. Look, we did it even the fifth street. He said, no. Whoa, that priest lost his faith.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Yeah, God does solve problems. In fact, God is the first person you should turn to when anything goes wrong, whether it's big or small. That's something I learned.
I mean, if God doesn't solve our problems, why did he die on cross for us for our sin problem?
Yeah. And so
here we are, and rise again.
If he's going to take care of the sin problem, he'll take care of the other problems.
Absolutely. You know? He does solve your problems, and it's a heresy to say he doesn't, you know.
Yeah, because, I agree with you. God does take care of problems.
Yeah. That kind of thing, you know. As far as what's going on in the Catholic Church, I love the Catholic Church. I'm not leaving it. But boy, there's been a lot of abuses since Vatican II. I mean, I love the documents of Vatican II, but there's been so much liberalism and political correctness from the catechism.
Well, as long as they
don't... The catechesis of the church to the pulpit to the songs, oh boy.
But as long as they don't alter the gospel itself.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the most important thing.
Well, the church never did.
Oh,
not
no,
from the
I
Pope.
know.
Not from the Pope, even though this Pope is doing things and saying things that I have a lot of concerns on, but you know.
Well, I think that's going to happen in anything in a church.
Yeah, he's still the valid Pope, always, but you know, I wish he's a little liberal, kind of doing something a little worrisome, you know, just.
The thing with this new pope that gets me is, and this is just me. I mean, I'm no theologian. Yeah. I understand he wants to be like Christ. He's going around here kissing people's feet and stuff like that. But I just think that's very unhealthy from a health point of view.
It is.
You don't know where somebody's feet have been.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Around the world.
Isn't that the truth?
He's going to different continents and different countries and portraying that. And I understand that, but from a health hygiene.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That just makes me cringe when I see that.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't know. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not picking on the Pope or anything that. I just, me personally, if I were the Pope, I don't think I would do that.
Nor would I, no.
For health reasons. Stuff like that. But, anyway. I don't know why I mentioned that. Just have to notice.
Oh, yeah. But back to Sesame Street, it influenced so much of children's television, you know.
I think all those children's shows have, but yeah, Sesame Street.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most influential, Sesame Street, I would think.
Even Sprout TV, which is now just Universal Kids, they've really... Sprout TV, I thought it was going to be about gardening. This is many years ago. Thankfully, I have it on tape, videotape on disc. It was 24-hour preschooler programming. They would have Sesame Street, Barney, other things, but they would also have Caillou, Thomas and Friends, Poppy Cat, The Wiggles.
Yeah, I don't know all those.
It was 24/7. Well, they weren't even characters. Thing is, Sprout TV wasn't a television show, it was a station.
Okay.
It was a TV station, 24 hours a day, and it would have a whole bunch of cartoons and shows for preschoolers of different things. But that's all it was. Now with Universal Kids, it has some preschooler stuff during the day, but then stuff for older kids more at night and into the morning, and it's just in a lot of reality shows for kids and Ninja Warriors Jr., just a lot of stuff.
I see.
This is no longer for preschoolers. I think it's outrageous. I think it was terrible. It was a horrible mistake. I wrote to them at the address. I found their address and complained. They never wrote to me. At least they have baby TV now, and it has a lot of boring stuff. That's for babies. But I love Squeak. Squeak is this.
I don't know these characters.
Well, it isn't a character; it's a TV show. And I think baby TV. It's its own channel on channel 100 of cable. If you have cable.
I don't. But you know, I can get it if I really want it.
Yeah. And anyway, Squeak is about these 3 little mice that live in a TikTok house, and they live in the studio, and they come out in the studio, and it has a bunch of toys and blocks. It's very babyish, but it's also educational. Where
for little babies, and for babies, you stuff have them.
Yeah, from 1 to 3 years old, and they're just adorable. Toot, Tog, and Tizzy Mouse. Maybe they'll play with toys. Maybe they'll think of a game to play. They'll think of a word. Where Simon says, not think of a word, where I'm thinking of a word, where Simon says, or match something to another. Then we might have story time, you know, once upon a time will lead a story. Then a guessing thing where they'll learn some educational stuff about what goes with what. And it's adorable. Then TV time. What time is it now? TV time. Turn it on. Turn it on. And it's this sweet thing, kind of with baby tunes, where they show little kids in a preschool during arts and crafts, maybe making something, learning about farm animals, and it's just adorable. And they all say bye, and then they leave and go back into the TikTok house after cleaning up. It's hard to explain, folks, for it's about 20 minutes long. It's just adorable.
I was playing Theme of Mighty Mouse just now.
It is so cute, and they have a stuff like Tech the Tractor. I think that's filmed in Ireland or England somewhere. Tech the Tractor.
See all these television shows or networks and shows characters you're introducing. I don't really know them.
Yeah, you have to get cable to know, you know, because it was Sprout TV.
So they must have a bunch of children's shows on cable network these days.
They do. And Nickelodeon, that's gone out the window years ago.
Is that still on?
Yes, but it's not even really Nickelodeon. It's more like variety and sitcom stuff. It's no longer.
I see. They don't.
Nickelodeon started in 1982 or 83.
Okay.
If you remember.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a cable channel for little kids. And at first it was just for little kids. I loved it. Didn't really love it, but then they kind of expanded for older kids. It was from age 3 to age 12.
And now it's
more it's more sitcoms. It isn't even really Nickelodeon for kids anymore.
Well, like I said, I don't have cable, so I'm not really aware of all these new stuff, but I do remember Nickelodeon, though.
It used to be a great TV program for kids. I mean, even friends of mine and I in Lewiston would like to watch it sometimes.
So they must have like maybe hundreds of children's shows on the cable networks these days?
About 50 or 70, because right now they only have 2 of them left. They've got Baby TV, and then they've got Universal Kids, which has a few stuff during the daytime. But really, the only thing you ever get is Baby TV on channel 100. 24 hours.
I'd probably get a laugh out of it if I saw that, I guess.
Oh, you'd love it. There is a Spanish version of Baby TV. I got Latino tier just so I could get Baby TV. I wanted to see what is up with this. And it's adorable, too. They have some songs, and everything's in Spanish. No subtitles. Channel 215. 215 on the Latino tier. You have to pay extra for it. But it's all in Spanish. It's kind of the neat thing. I don't know a lick of Spanish.
I don't either.
One thing I love is called Good Night Teddy Bear. It's on like 7:30 to 7:45. It's only on for a few minutes. It's so cute. It's about this mommy teddy bear tucking in baby teddy bear to sleep. But guess what? The teddy bear tells his mommy a bedtime story about things going on, maybe an adventure he had or whatever. Just adorable and cute and sweet,
Okay.
And just sometimes there's really no set programming or format.
Okay.
They just have a whole bunch of different sketches for Baby Tino the Latier. Sometimes they even have kind of some like children's songs. They're all sung in Spanish. One of them was just adorable. I have it recorded on audio tape because I can hook it up from my audio tape boombox to the TV. Something about discussing various types of food, and was so happy, dun 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 dun, and something in Spanish. Here's the different kinds of food we can eat, dun 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 dun, and even a little egg or something with a Spanish mustache and a Spanish hat dancing around, and the forks and spoons dancing around, and it was so cute. I couldn't believe it.
That's cool.
Just darling. I couldn't stand how adorable it was. Just.
We got about 10 minutes left. This is going by so quickly.
But I think all the roads led to Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Sesame Street was the big thing that propelled children's television.
I have to agree with you on that.
Kind of like Star Wars. A lot of roads lead back to Star Wars. And before Sesame Street, children's programming was very different. It wasn't even really educational. It was more...
No, it wasn't really educational. It was just more... fun stuff for children or make-believe stuff, I would say.
But it's amazing that Sesame Street, or even the shows on Sprout TV, or even like on baby TVs, the Squeak, mixes education with entertainment. Or even Caillou did the same thing.
I see.
Caillou was this adorable 4-year-old, very bald, almost looked like he had chemotherapy or something. He didn't.
Okay.
But basically, he would learn about the world around him. He lived with his family, with Mommy, Daddy, and his sister Rosie. We don't know what Mommy and Daddy's names were, but he often went to play school. And, had friends like Leo and Clementine and Xavier. And his best friend was Leo, and they would pal around and they would learn various stuff. It's a Canadian cartoon. It's from Canada.
But it has the educational...
Yes, and it was imported to the United States from Canada. But it was just... It's an adorable cartoon. It's like 10 minutes each. He learns about snow, maybe about weather, about storms, stuff about play school, maybe getting along with the other kids. He always has friends, but one thing that was kind of a funny one, I don't know why this just jumps out at me. His friends of his, Jeffrey and Jason... 2 identical twins. And by the way, I love that it's an interracial cartoon. They have a whole bunch of races and different colored people, just getting along. They don't even say, these people are African Americans, these people are Chinese. They're just all getting along like best friends, which it should be.
Yeah,
love should have no color.
I agree.
Well, Jason and Jeffrey are just 2 identical twins who are also African American, but they had a funny game at play school, which hurt a lot of people's feelings. They were calling people silly names, like Clementine, come here. you're a goofy swoopy head. Goofy swoopy head. Or, you know, Xavier is because he messed up his blocks, is a bumble swumble head. Bumble swumble head.
I see.
So finally Caillou said, you know, I've had enough of this silly name calling. I've got to put a stop to this. Look, your silly game is just silly, and it hurts people's feelings. Jason and Jeffrey said, I'm sorry, I didn't know. We just thought it was funny. And then Caillou said, when something is funny, everyone laughs. No one is laughing. Not Leo, not Clementine, not Xavier, not Emma or whatever. Just, you know, or Clement or Emma. And said, oh, okay, I did not know. So we won't do it again, but can we call each other names? And he said, yeah, I guess that's okay. Okay, come on, jumpy, swampy Jeffrey. And then finally, even, you know, Leo said, would you like, or Caillou said, would you like to go back on the slide, loop-de-loop, Leo? And he said, you got it, Cailloodles. And he realized sometimes funny names can be funny between friends, and Caillou also realized how good it felt to speak up. You know, I don't know why that episode jumped out at me, but I guess kind of learning interpersonal relationships, it just worked on so many levels. Of course, he also learned about snowstorms, the wilderness, you know, and a safety, what to do in a fire drill, a whole bunch of stuff, and stuff with his grandma and grandpa and that kind of thing. They even did a holiday special where they learned about Christmas traditions. That was about for an hour and 20 minutes, and learned about learning to wait for the Christmas season and Christmas Day. That was just adorable. Oh yeah. And learned about different Christmas traditions, even, you know, Hanukkah and that kind of thing. It was just a great movie, but I loved Caillou. They had that on Sprout TV. They have it on 198 now, on from 12:30 to 1. That's another children's station. It's not a program, but 198 is PBS Kids.
PBS. I have heard of that.
Yeah, PBS Kids.
Okay.
They don't have much I like, but they do have Caillou at least.
Okay.
Thank heavens they have.
But they have a lot of children's stuff on that.
It's all children's stuff, 24/7. 24/7.
Well, my guess is it's probably positive for children and.
This all is. This all is. Tech the Tractor. I hope I'm not just going on and like a motor.
No, we're running out of time anyway, so let's go ahead.
Well, Tech the Tractor, it grows on you. I think it's nice. It's not my favorite.
Okay.
It's about a small little tractor. He doesn't speak. There's just kind of a voiceover.
Okay.
Tech the Tractor has kind of eyes and eyelashes and kind of a mouth, and the eyes kind of move back and forth, but I think it's in England or Ireland somewhere, or maybe England.
Okay.
He lives on a farm with other tractors and other things, and he learns about farming, other tractors, what his jobs are. Even sometimes you learn, because he had a family that was taking care of him, and one of the family, I think one of the children had her tonsils taken out, or something.
So they deal with that on the...
Yes, or some operation.
Okay.
And that kind of thing. That was on, that was on Baby TV. I think even on Sprout TV they had a kind of a boring show called, what was it, Topsy and Tim.
Okay.
Two twins from England.
Okay.
Topsy and twins. But I thought they were really boring kids, and their friends were really boring. They weren't very imaginative. The premiere episode, Topsy and Tim were making cardboard cutouts of themselves. Okay. Oh, how imaginative. And then they had some friends over, and then Tim said, I dub thee King Twin Tim.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they're playing around with music with their cardboard cutouts of themselves. And unfortunately, Topsy, when they were having some lunch, spilled milk all over King Twin Tim, and it's like, these were boring kids, not very imaginative. Caillou and Leo were much more imaginative because they played space aliens together and science fiction stuff. But even one time, Topsy had belly pain. She had to go into for an operation because she had to have her appendix removed. So they did a thing with that where she was in the hospital for a few days, you know.
And so they just presented it so it wouldn't frighten
Right,
her.
right,
That,
exactly.
I see.
Or something with her stomach, something like that. Yeah, I think it was her appendix. But yeah, they would bring that kind of thing. What happened to her video calibration?
Oh, don't worry about that. That's just fading in out. It's still being recorded.
But anyway, so many roads lead to Sesame Street, and so many of this for kids is groundbreaking. I guess maybe cable TV has really expanded the market for children's programming. If we only had 4 stations, we wouldn't have Baby TV or Sprout TV or this other stuff.
I see. Well, we better sign up because we're out of time anyway. You got any final words you want to say?
Yes, if this is going to be, well, for one, Christmas is coming up. It is the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. It isn't just about Christmas trees and presents and Santa Claus. I don't mind that, but if this is going to be the last one, this is about Christmas. Thanksgiving is about time to give thanks to God. It isn't just Turkey Day. Right. Please remember all that. If we're not going to do a Thanksgiving or Christmas special,
Probably
I just wanted to
we can do
briefly
that right
mention that. Maybe we should have done more of that, but I like this Sesame Street stuff.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
We could do both, but holiday Christmas surreal joke to lighten them and do everything.
Right.
But this I've told last year and the year before. There were these 2 washing machines, and it was the Christmas holiday season. And they were splashing around in coffee cups at the mall. And Santa Claus was going to be at the mall sitting in the chair. And so he came around chewing on an old football, and he saw the washing machine splashing in the coffee cups. And the washing machine started to smile, so Santa Claus got mad and left. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, we'll quit on that note. I am Asaph Adonai, and this might be our last cafe, like we were saying, for a while. Anyway, I'm going to pray a quick prayer.
Yes.
Lord, thank you for this day. May God get all the credit, glory. Thank you for 5 years of the cafe and a wonderful time with Emmett. In Christ's name.
Amen.
Anyway, this might be our last cafe for a while because the Liberace.
Until next year.
Yeah, so
January.
Gloria will just probably do some reruns, and then I'll make the decision. I'll let you know by the end of the year if I'm going to keep this up. I probably will keep it up. I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
We're in our 5th year. Can you believe it? 5 years on the cafe, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we'll just keep it, in the Lord. If the Lord wants you to discontinue the show because it's His show, that's fine. If you've run out of ideas, and if you want to keep it on, great. If not, we can have one last show maybe next year. We'll just keep this in prayer.
Yeah, that's
because you are considering maybe discontinuing the show. I don't want to.
I know, but we'll just see. But in the meantime, good Lord willing, this Liberace event's coming up, and yours truly will recreate the legacy of Liberace, Mr. Showmanship.
Yep.
So. Anyway, it'll be fun, and you and I will get a lot of pictures. It'll be a lot of fun.
It will.
A lot of fun. Anyway, I'm Asaph Adonai. Affectionately on my left, our aging rocker Emmett. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this again. And until our next show, Maranatha. Well, make yourself at home.
Yeah, and I still love science fiction or fantasy.
All right, I'll be right back.